Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about this Final Fantasy XVI interview from Press Start by Kieron Verbrugge, where we got some pretty interesting information from Naoki Yoshida as he does the press rounds for the game. So this is a big interview with a lot of information. I'm not going to read everything word for word. You can do that yourself if you like. The link for this article will be in the description of the video. And if you want more Final Fantasy XVI content, then feel free to subscribe to the channel and you'll get notifications when things come up. So this first question is about icons and how they're kind of a main part of the story and also the gameplay in Final Fantasy XVI. And Naoki Yoshida actually compares icons in Valisthea to weapons of mass destruction or nuclear bombs. Like, these are really big deals. They are typically have not been used by nations in the past. Now, not all nations have an icon. Most do, though, or a dominant, that is, that control the icon. But yes, they're these weapons of mass destruction, and there's a reason we're about to find out why they're actually getting put into use, and they're going to be a center point of this story. So the dominants can actually call forth the icon's power and change into the icon, which is pretty crazy. Instead of summoning it, they become it. It's a really drastic change, and there's sacrifice that happens when, you know, there's always consequences whenever someone turns into an icon. And the reason that we're going to see these icons that, you know, nations are afraid of using is because of the Mothercrystals. And the Mothercrystals, Yoshida uses the analogy that it's like oil fields. They supply the land with aether, which is the energy used to power all magic. However, this power is now running out in some of these crystals, and because of that, certain nations have to invade other nations to try to wrest away control of the remaining Mothercrystals. And in order to do this, the icons are going to have to be used to kind of, you know, win battles and subjugate other nations. So it's kind of a pretty cool war plot that is kind of brewing here, and it's going to be really interesting because Clive has to fight these icons, but he also gets their powers. Apparently we're going to see him, you know, fighting against them in his human form, but then we'll fight as icons against other icons, and all these things are going to be happening seamlessly with the power of the PlayStation 5. The next question was about going back to a more dark medieval setting for a Final Fantasy game, and the main takeaway here is that we had a lot of high-tech entries in a row. You know, we had Final Fantasy 15 was modern, 13 was kind of cyberpunk, 12 had a lot of tech. It was very medieval too at times, and then 14 is all over the map, although I think primarily kind of like a medieval setting, but there's lots of technology in 14 as well. I mean, we went to the frickin' moon for Pete's sake. So this is going to be a lot more grounded, although we found out that there is an ancient, you know, high-tech civilization that's been destroyed, just like the Eikons in Final Fantasy XIV, but that's beside the point. They wanted to go back to a different, you know, time, a different period or theme for this game, and that's why they went to the medieval setting, so that they were kind of going away from what a lot of the recent Final Fantasy games were, but also all the people working on the game, this is just their favorite setting, and that's a really important detail because we want them to enjoy what they're doing, so really liked hearing about that. Next up is about the combat in Final Fantasy XVI. It's real time and it's an action-based system. They asked, why is this happening? You know, why did they go in this direction? And Yoshida has an answer for this too. He mentions that Final Fantasy series have used a ton of different battle systems, that they've also, you know, used all sorts of different graphics, etc. People want the battle system, you know, to be turn-based, but they also want it to be super high-tech, you know, graphics, and they basically want to go down this path of using this action combat system to show it could be done with a Final Fantasy series. They wanted to show young developers that it's okay to build a Final Fantasy this way and show it within, you know, Square Enix. They also just wanted to do it to push the abilities of the game in terms of this seamless, like, you know, no loading time going from cutscene to combat to now you're an Eikon fight, now you're back down and you're Clive again, now you're, you know, over here watching a scene and then you're right back into action. Nothing slows down to a grinding halt as the ATB suddenly kicks in and you have to, you know, go into a fight. It's going to be one just fluid experience, and he compared it to the pace of the story to riding a roller coaster. So he definitely has a vision for this, and he needed to do this action battle system in order to basically, he said himself here, Final Fantasy has to have the cutting edge technology and the greatest graphics, and you can't do that with a turn-based battle system, in Yoshida's opinion. Now, I don't know if I agree with that, but you know, it's important that he does have a vision and that he has a goal that he wants to realize. If he didn't, then that would be a problem. But if he's doing this to realize a certain type of game, then I think that's actually a good thing. Finally, he says that a lot of younger gamers don't really know much about Final Fantasies. There's people that haven't played them, so this is going to attract old fans and also new fans to the genre, to the series, and you know, that's always a good goal to have as well. The next question was about Clive switching between different styles or forms based on the icons. We've seen a lot of this already in the trailer, and Yoshida can't really tell us, you know, how or why or when we're going to get these powers of different icons, but he will use the powers of each of these icons. It's also going to unlock a ability tree. Whenever you get an icon, you can get points that you can use to unlock actions, and then you can customize your character and, you know, respec to do certain things, and just like really experience with the system, which sounds pretty cool. They also saw some pretty exciting looking battles between two icons. Where did the idea for these battles come from, and are there something that the players actively involved in? And yes, we know that we're actively going to be part of these battles. Some of them we'll watch in scenes, but some of them will play as, which is pretty cool. And then Yoshida has this story about how he was in a packed con at the Tokyo Game Show, and he couldn't get to all these booths that he was trying to get to, and he saw these floating balloons. There was a Chocobo and a Moogle balloon, and he thought, man, if I was as big as those balloons, if I was as big as Ifrit, I could just take one step to go from here to that place, and I could pass all these people, which is, you know, a really normal thing to think about on a regular basis. And that snowballed for him into, if I could turn into a summon, wouldn't that be kind of an interesting game? Yeah, I guess it would. So you start off small rather than summoning a summon, and then you can become the summon yourself, become large, fight things, fight other summons, and from there it snowballed into this idea that if I were ever to make the next game, I could do this. But then again, this was all before I was ever asked to make Final Fantasy XVI. So he had this idea of how cool it would be to actually be a summon in a game, and like make it actually fun. Make it actually cool gameplay, because the PlayStation 5 is going to be able to power that up, and this action system might also, suit that kind of battle. So, yeah, that's exciting. I think that a lot of people are excited for this part of Final Fantasy 16, and they could have done this type of battle system, but also had turn-based. That's not the point, but you know, it's cool that we're getting it. So that's going to be it for this interview that we're looking at here. Thank you to Press Start for, you know, putting this up here. Lots of really good information, and you can go check out the full interview in the description. But there's a lot more interviews to go through, so we'll probably make some more videos about that. You can tell me if you want to see certain content. I'm still working on my everything we know about Titan video, but otherwise I'll see you all in the next one. You know, and again, if you made it to this far into the video, then clearly, you know, it must have been okay. So hit the like button, subscribe. It shows support for the channel. It's a really easy thing for you to do. Helps me out, and hopefully that's not too much begging. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you all next time.